In this video, I'm going to show you how to insert an image. We're not going to go very deep with this because you're going to be doing this with Composer very shortly, but I want you to understand the concept. So I want to show you something here first. I'm going to use this index.html file. This file, I put it in a folder called Web Development on my W drive, so it's important that we keep all the HTML files together for our website. What I've done though is I threw in two images. I threw one in the same folder as the HTML files to show you the difference between what happens when we have one in the same folder and one in a subfolder. The ideal way to sort of store all of your images, or I guess categorize them, is to put them in an images folder that is below. It's a subfolder to the web development folder in my case. So it's a subfolder here, your main folder. Anyways, I want you to try and understand this. So this one here is called clock rotate. This one here is called boat. You've seen that in the GIMP tutorials. I'll start with the clock rotate one in a minute, and I'll just minimize this. So if I wanted to, I'm going to go view my, I'll refresh it here. Oops, I need to save this again. All right, what I'm going to get here is what I want to do is I want to have an image in between this paragraph and sort of this text here. So I'm going to create a space here. Now to create a space, I'm going to throw in a paragraph tag. Get rid of that. Throw in a paragraph tag, and I'm going to just close the paragraph tag here while I'm at it. And I'll go in between. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put in my coding that I need for my image, which is the following. And I'm just going to left align it for now, and I'm going to use the original size. So I could put it in lowercase or uppercase, it doesn't really matter. I'll just go image source src equals, and then I'm going to use the one that was called clockrotate.jpg. So I don't need to throw anything else here other than the file name. Just like that. As a matter of fact, I could just stop it right here and we can see what happens. It's going to show us that clock. So I need to save this so that when I use my browser, it's going to go look for this newly saved file. The changes are here. So I can refresh it, or, well, if you don't have it open to begin with, don't forget, you can file open it, or you can hit Control O if you don't have a menu. I'm going to go browse for it, so I'm assuming that it wasn't here. I'm going to go look for it, which was on the W drive and in my web development folder, and I'm going to open up the file that I've just updated. And you can see the date and time here, so you'll know if you actually updated it. So if this is off by 10 minutes and you just did it, then you probably didn't save it in the right spot. I'm going to open it up, click OK, and here we go. There is my image, left aligned, original size. If I want it this smaller, well, if we're using HTML coding, we'll have to do a little bit of tweaking here, and that's where GIMP might come in handy. I'll talk about that in a bit. So we threw this image in here, but I say, you know what, I want this to be centered. So what I'm going to do, and what I'd like you to try, is to throw in a code like this. I'm going to just type it up here above. I could have put it right before, but I'm just trying to clean things up. I'm going to call that the center code, and I'll throw another one here. And I'm going to close the center tag, okay, with the slash. Now let's see what happens. I need to resave it. I need to refresh it. I'll hit F5 this time instead of clicking here. And there it is. Now it is centered. Properly aligning images is a tough thing to do when you're working with just coding. As a matter of fact, it's even tough to do with using a web editor. And oftentimes we'll use tables when we want to get things just right. It's not like, clicking and dragging it exactly where you want it to go, like we would in Word. So I'll leave that one there for now, and I'm going to put another one here between them. We'll call that the boat. We'll put the boat in between this folder, or this paragraph, and this text. So let's go back, and this is where I want it, right here. So I'm going to throw in another paragraph tag, so the P, and I'll just move it down here so everything I put in between will be in that paragraph. So I'll close the tag. I'm going to throw in that image. Now remember that the boat file is in a subfolder to index.html. So if I just type it in like I did here, it's not going to find it. It's empty. It's not there. Boat's not there. So I need to tell it to go to images, which is to go down one level. Okay? And this is how that works. I'm going to type in my image code. I'm going uppercase this time. Just be consistent with what you do. If you do it once with lowercase, just keep doing it that way. Now, to go one folder lower, I'm going to type a slash. So that goes one lower. I'm going to tell it what folder it's going into. And then, sorry, I'm going to go back. It's just images, then slash. And then I'm going to type in the name. It was boat, the name of the file. And I'm going to throw that in there. Let's find out if I got the slash right. All right? Maybe I need to throw in there. We'll find out in a second. And let's try that out. Save it again. So you're refreshing it. We'll go into the browser. We'll refresh it there too. And there's my boat. Way too big, but it's there. Okay, so it found it in that folder. And when you don't know what it's looking for, or where when you're surfing a web page, you want to know where somebody's had this stuff stored, right-click on it, click on Properties, and I'll see here that in my case it's telling me that it's in a folder called Images. Okay, so you'll see something like this, but keep in mind that right now this is not published online, so it's looking on my local drive, my W drive. But as we publish it, the way we did it, it will no longer look for W drives. It'll look for server folders. Anyway, way too big. So what I want to do here, it's pretty good, but what I want to do here, whenever you throw an image in there, you should also have an alt tag. And I'm going to do it up here. The alternate tag, it's called the alternate tag, is information, one word or two, that will show up when you hover over the image in most browsers. As browsers get updated and as we use different browsers, this feature is starting to disappear. But if you were going to look at the code, it's good to know what's there. So I'm going to just call this the clock. And exactly how you type it is how it's going to appear. We'll see that it probably won't work here in Internet Explorer. I forget. The versions are all different. I'll do the same thing here. I'll type my alt tag in. But so for your assignments, you'll be required to throw in alt tags. And let's see what happens. They're both left aligned still. Or this one's centered, I guess. But all right, save it, refresh it. And now if I hover over it here, see how it says clock right here? So I come back, it says clock. So if it was missing, it might just show me like a little broken sort of image icon. But it would tell me what it is. It would say that it's supposed to be clock. So here's boat. It's working here in Internet Explorer. Let's find out if it'll work with GIMP. I was messing around here earlier. I'm going to click Control O to find this. I'm going to go into my W drive where I have it saved. We'll go into Web Development. We'll open up the index file. And let's see if it does it here. See, and it doesn't do it here. So it's different for different browsers. So I'm hovering over it and I don't get that information. So it all depends on the browser that you're using. We're almost done. I know the video is taking a little time here, but here's the deal. If you were doing this manually, now later you'll be using Composer and you'll be able to resize images a little bit easier. But if you were wanting to resize this boat, if I just start picking, you're going to be typing this sort of stuff. You'll type width and you'll put something in there, and you'll put height, and you'll equal, and you'll put something in here. But I can't just start guessing at this. What happens if I guess? Well, let's find out. What if I go 200 by 300? That's even too big. I'm going to go 100, and I'll make it so it should be taller than it is wide. But you'll see that it's not going to jive here very well. The boat's going to look kind of weird because I'm not using relative width and height numbers here. So if I just saved it, I think. Let me go back to Internet Explorer. And I'm going to refresh it. And you'll see that it's not bad. Actually, it was a pretty good guess. I expected it to be a lot taller and a lot less wide. But what I want to do is I want to keep the perspective. I want to keep it so that the boat still looks like a boat no matter what size it is. The easiest way to do this, well, since you're familiar with GIMP, what you could do is you could open up that boat image in GIMP And of course, you could resize it, save it again, and that's the one that you're going to use. Alternately, what you can do is you can, and this might take me a minute here, but you can open up the file in GIMP or in Microsoft Image Viewer or Image Editor. And get rid of that. I'm going to go find the boat image here. I know this is taking a while, but it's just like you're in class with the teacher, right? The teacher's got to explain some things, and if you can hang tight here and have a little patience, this all pans out. Your goal at the end is to create a half-decent little website. I'll just open up the one that I had on the W drive just to see what it looks like. The one that I have in that folder. Eventually. There we go. Web development. It's in images. There's the boat. Now here's the scoop. It's giving me I don't want to rotate. Oops, that's not even the right thing. But I want to resize this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to Image, and I'm going to go to Scale Image. Notice that right now it's 600 by 895. Well, the thing is, if I want it quite a bit smaller, what I can do, let's say I wanted it half the size or a third of the size. I could say %, change it to, and see how it says 600 by 895? I need to mark that down in a minute, but I'm going to make it 30% of that size, and I'm going to keep this little lock here so that it will give me the right numbers. And even 180, well, that's not too bad. So I need to not mark these numbers down. 180 by 269. Even if I want 270, that would be about the same. So if I wanted it, quarter of that size, 25, 25, well, I'll make it 150 by 224. Those numbers are important. I'll close that. I'm good. Probably good to keep it open if you weren't sure and you wanted to try it again. You wouldn't have to open it up again. So I'm looking at those numbers. I'm going to make the boat 150 by 224. And so what's happening here is I have a relative width and height. So if the width changes by a certain amount, the height will change as well, so the boat still looks like a boat. So I'll change that. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. I'll save it again. Let's refresh this again. F5 will work. And there we go. My boat still looks like a boat. Okay. If I want it that centered, you know how to do that now. Center, center, just like I did up here. And we know it's working, so we're good to go. That is the end of this video. I want you to try this with the tutorial that you're going to be working on. And as we get into Composer, some of this stuff you'll still be using it, but you'll understand how it works at that point.